As I wake up every morning, I wish the day would end, because a day without you in my life.
Hey guys, it's Amber. Thanks for joining me today. And today I'm going to be reviewing the Bad Habit Athena palette. So a little bit about this palette. This palette is purchasable at shophush.com. Also, there's an app, which is the Shop Hush app, which is the main way people purchase things. And I've heard there's like special deals and more like free shipping and more products that are available on the app versus the website. So I just want to let you guys know that. But this is a knockoff of a Huda Beauty palette. I think it's a Desert Dusk palette. So I am not comparing this palette to that palette. This is, even though this is kind of a knockoff copy like Revolution Beauty and those kinds of things, it doesn't exactly mimic the packaging, and also the colors are in different orders. They all have different names. So you just have to make the personal choice about how you feel about those types of makeup purchases. So because I do not have the original palette, I am judging this palette as a whole as someone who is just purchasing this. So some of the comparisons you might say, well, that's how the other palette is, so that's why it's like this. And I understand that, but I'm still, as a consumer, I'm purchasing this, I'm not purchasing that, so I'm still going to give my critiques about how I feel this palette works for me. So first thing off the bat, this is 18 different colors. So I'll show you guys all the swatches right here I included from my original video. So overall, I have been super impressed with this palette. I have loved wearing it on my eyes, I've loved playing with it, I've been wearing it for the past few weeks, and I've actually created 3 different makeup looks that I'm going to include at the end, just little mini tutorials, so I'll show you the different looks that I'm wearing. A lot of these have been included in some of my videos, and you guys have been like, what is the makeup look you're wearing? If that's you, those makeup looks will be coming at the end, so make sure you stay tuned. I will also put timestamps down below. If you guys are not interested in the review, if you already have this palette and you just want to see the makeup looks, you can skip to the end. So first thing, I really do like the balance between the matte shades and the shimmer shades. I like this really cool glitter. I felt like it was a great accent, but I'm glad there's only one. I don't think I would need any more of that. So overall, I really do like the balance of colors, except for my only critique as far as colors would go, is that instead of having these 2 gold shimmery shades, which one does have a little bit more pinky tone, yes, but they are so similar, I think, as far as what I would use them for, and they swatch so similar, that I wish one of these was swatched out for a deeper plum. Now I love this color here. Justice is one of my favorite colors on the palette. It can be a little bit difficult to blend, and so you do have to work with it. Because I love that color so much, you know, I do work with it, but you know, these aren't going to be as buttery and smooth as I'm sure the Huda Beauty palette is, but I still feel like it's very workable. But I wish they would have taken a deeper plum color and included that in the palette, because the only dark shade to anchor your looks is this warm brown called Clever. And I feel like if I would have had a deeper plum, not that was shimmery, but that was just matte, I feel like that would have been perfect. I feel like I could have gotten a really beautiful dark purple smoky eye that didn't get muddied out by using too much brown. So that's just my personal opinion on the palette. But overall, I felt like there was some fallout from using the palette. I mean, you are going to have some powdery shades, but I was still overall really impressed with the pigmentation. There were a few shades that were a little bit harder to blend, as far as they just weren't as seamless, just like those buttery shades that just blend themselves. But I felt like they were very workable overall. Now this palette I think is about $12, so super affordable. So that's something definitely to keep in mind. I did feel like all of these colors are very pigmented as far as the shimmers go. Epic and Gleam kind of have this different texture where they're like a duochrome. They're very pretty, but I found that they are kind of a loose pigment in the pan, so I felt like I needed something to kind of anchor them, because I felt like they would get a little bit crumbly. So I'm in love with these shades. They're so beautiful. But I just felt like I could kind of tap them on the lid a little bit. Then I would go through, wet my brush, which is even just water, setting spray, mixing medium, whatever you want to use. I felt like that just kind of helped intensify them just a little bit more, and also it helped just the crumbliness of the shadow a little bit. So overall, I don't have anything negative to say other than I would just love that deeper, darker purple shade. So I think this is a wonderful palette, and I think if you've been on the fence about it, then I would recommend it. So really quickly, I'm just going to compare it to Modern Renaissance because I have that, and just show you some of the color similarities. So if you do have Modern Renaissance and you're thinking, do I really need this? I'm just gonna kind of compare the two. So the Athena palette definitely has a much more purple. It's got the deeper brown, but you do get some of the crossover in these red shades. So like Red Ochre, Real Gar, those definitely, you could get that same look with the Lore, Heroic, and a little bit of Power. Power obviously is a little bit more red than the berry shade here, Venetian Red, in the Modern Renaissance palette. But I do think that you do have some of these peachy light tones in the browns. So I definitely think that there are some similarities. So if you're not really interested in these like glitter shades and you have Modern Renaissance and you're mostly going to use these warms, I think that you could totally just do this. But if you are interested in these glitter shades, I mean, they're totally worth it. I feel like this is out of the ballpark, just amazing. I really liked it, and it was hard for me to like pick up other palettes because I was so excited about using it. So really quickly, I did 3 different looks. So I did more warm eye, more purpley with a pop of the glitter, and then a total purple eye. And then today, for a contrast, I wanted to show you something really neutral. I didn't want this video to be very, very long, especially since I already had the 3 looks. But I just wanted to show you guys how I did a very neutral eye. So if you're thinking, oh my gosh, I don't know if this is versatile enough for me, I did get this really nice neutral look. It's still warm, but it's more neutral than the purple and the red looks I did. So I just used a little bit of Purity and Truth in the crease, and then I went in with Clever, the warm brown. And then all I did was take a little bit of Fierce and put that on the lid, add mascara and liner, and that is it. So really, really simple, but I was able to get this more neutral look. So I paired it with a little bit darker lip. If you like to switch it up a little bit like that, that's also an option. All right guys, on to the makeup look. So getting started, I'm going to prime my eyes. You can tell this was filmed a little while ago because my face is struggling with the acne. I put down a base of Purity and then go right into Velour and start putting that in my crease. Just make a nice little transition blend there. Next, I'm going into Heroic, and then I'm going to be putting that into my crease to deepen everything up, get that really nice warm rust color. I was kind of just testing out all the shades, honestly, with this look. So I'm using Prize here on the lid. It's a really beautiful cranberry red shimmer shade. And then I'm going into Wisdom, and I'm going to put that on the outer part of my tiny little lid down there. I really liked this purple shade as well. Next, I'm going to go into Gleam, which is a little less purple than Epic, but it still has a little bit of that purpley silvery sheen. It makes a really fun contrast. And I apply that to the inner corners. I did want to add a little pop right in the center, so I went into Cunning and put that over the red just to lighten it up just a tiny bit and give some more brightness to the eye. Then I'm just blending, softening out all the corners, and going into Justice, and I'm applying that under the lash line. Of course, you can tell I put my foundation on and I got my eyeliner on, and now I'm going into Daring. It's a very loosely pressed glitter, and I'm just pressing it into the pan and then pressing it onto my eyes very carefully. You do not want to get this in your eye, so don't go crazy with it. Next, I'm using this blush from Shop Miss A, and I'm just applying it to my cheeks. I didn't do a full face on all of these, but I did include it on this one. And I wanted to try that Unicorn Glow palette, so I went into this purple shade and just popped that on my cheekbones. And then I'm going back into the Athena palette into Fierce and popping that into my inner corners. Next, I'm doing Tea Rose from e.l.f.'s Matte Lipstick and finishing with my Huda Beauty Gloss. This is in Snobby. Next look, I'm starting with Purity again all over the lid. This just sets my eye primer really well. Then back into Velour. Love this for a transition shade. Love that peachy tone. Then I'm going into Power. This is a really fun red shade, and I'm just kind of blending this into the velour and then just kind of applying it onto the lid just kind of loosely. I'm using that blending brush so it's a little bit more sheer instead of packing it on. Then I'm going to just keep applying that until I get to the desired strength and intensity that I wanted. But I'm just kind of applying and blending as I go to give it more of a soft look. Next, I'm going into Clever with a smaller blending brush and just putting that on the outer corner of my eye and a little bit into the crease just to add a little depth. I do really like this brown. I like that it has a warm in it, and I do think it works with these red rush shades well. So on the lid, I'm going to pop Divine, which is really pretty. It's different than Prize, the first one I used. This is a little more coppery red gold, and I really, really love this shade. You can see how with just one swipe, how pigmented it is. Now I'm going into Triumph, which is a very interesting shade. It looks gray, but actually goes on more rose gold in different lighting. So it was really fun to pair with the coppers. It's kind of an unexpected look, but I really enjoyed it. Next, I'm going into Cunning, and I'm putting a little bit of that in my inner corners. Now I've got foundation and a little bit of liner on. I'm just putting this under the lash line to kind of pull the look together with that Power color, and back into Triumph for mimicking the same look on the lower lash line as I did on the upper lash line. And there it is, all finished. I'll go into my final look and most requested, just whitening out my eyelids with a little white eyeshadow base from NYX to make the colors pop a little bit more. And then I'm just going to set these with a loose translucent powder because I want to keep it really light. Then I am going back into Purity to start applying that to the crease. You can see the difference it makes when I have that lighter base. You can actually see it. And now I'm going into Justice, one of my favorite colors, and I'm going to do more of a halo eye. I'm not going in super in depth, but I do have a video all about doing halo eyes on hooded eyes. So if you guys want to check that out, I can link that. But just going through the corners and blending them and adding some intensity as I go along. I'm just using a blending brush to kind of buff this out so it's really seamless and not really harsh. And yeah. Then I'm going in with a small brush in my inner corners. My eyes are small enough that I cannot use a normal size brush or it'll get too much too quick. So I just use this little brush and then I can kind of carve out like the V shape right there and kind of blend it upwards, leaving the middle space of the lid more blank because we're going to add the pop there in just a second. But I do go ahead and blend this afterwards with the littlest blending brush I can use to kind of help soften it up so it's not too harsh. And then I go through and just reapply and just kind of make that graduation between blended and the pigment intensity that I'm looking for. So that's where I need my darker shade. It's okay. I could totally find another matte purple to work with this. So now I'm taking the NYX base again and I'm putting this on the lid. I just do a tiny bit. I don't want to make it too much, but then I take this and I work it all throughout the lid. And then I'm kind of creating the shape I want for that halo. We've already got the outline with the dark, so now I'm just kind of softly going back and kind of blending it, feathering it in so it's not really a harsh cut crease, but it kind of blends seamlessly into the purple. And if you need to, you can always touch up the purple and kind of soften it. Now I'm going into the awesome shade Epic. I'm kind of pressing it in. And then I'm going to apply this dry first, and just to show you guys what it looks like, and I'm putting that right over where we put that little white for the halo. And then yes, I am just softening this up, adding a little more of the Justice as I need. And on the very outside, I decided to add a little bit of the velour. I just love that shade and I thought it added a little depth there, so I popped that in really quick. Next, I wet my brush and went into Epic again. Now you can see how that just pops once you add a little bit of the liquid to it. It makes it like liquid metal. I love this so much. So just applying that to both lids. And now we're ready for mascara, liner, lipstick. Putting a little bit of this sparkly purple underneath. This is the color Wisdom. And we're all finished. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. If you guys haven't already, here are my social media handles. Go ahead and follow me. Also, if you haven't subscribed, I don't know why, you should subscribe. You probably already are, but if not, make sure you hit that button. Let me know down below which is your favorite look that I did. And if you have the Desert Dust palette from Huda Beauty, what do you feel like is different from those? I'm curious to see if you guys, if anyone has that, has the both of them, and what you guys think. So just leave it down below. We can have a conversation about it. Keep it going. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!